If you love studying the Bible or hearing people talk about the Bible, but that doesn't do something in your heart that transforms the way you treat the people around you, then you are missing the point, because you will always be most fully alive when you are most fully engaged with the God of the universe. It's true. We're meant to holistically connect with the one who made us for himself. Occasionally, we don't feel welcome at church because we're not sure God wants us there. We're not really sure he wants anything to do with us at all. We look in the mirror and we see our faults and our fears and our failures. We're like, I don't know what I'm bringing to the table that God would actually want to connect with me at all. And we stand during worship, but we're not really worshiping. Our hearts aren't really connected to the heart of the Father because we're just not certain that he cares enough about us to welcome us in. And you guys, I am fully convinced if in the next chapter of the revision story, we're going to be who God wants us to be as individuals and as a community, if we're going to do all the things that he wants to do in and through our lives, it starts with learning that the creator of the universe desperately wants to connect to us. It starts with our hearts lining up with his. Because I don't care who you are, what your story is, where you've been, or what you've done, you were made with a longing inside your soul that you cannot fully explain. That no amount of success by our world's standards can ever fulfill, with this thirst inside of you that can't quite be quenched by anything the world has to offer. And that's not weakness, it's design. You were knit together in your mother's womb with an ache for the infinite and a soul tuned to hear the voice of the one who created you for a relationship with himself. One of our core values at religion or at Revision is that created people connect to the Creator. We believe every single one of us was made intentionally, beautifully, purposefully, and uniquely by God for relationship with him. We're created for connection. We're wired for worship. And this morning, what I want to do is give us a bigger, better vision, a revision of what that's all about and what that looks like. Because I think worship is so much bigger than just coming to a place for an hour on a Sunday morning and singing a few songs. And when we understand what it's all about, when we realize that the God of the universe actually is inviting us, despite all of our brokenness, despite all of the dents and cracks in our stories, that God actually is inviting you and me to come and connect with him. When we see that, we begin to live more fully alive, and we begin to step into the stories God wants to write through us. And I want all of us to live fully alive and live those stories in the next chapter. So if you got a Bible handy this morning, can you crack it open to the book of Psalms, chapter 95. It's almost smack dab in the middle. This is this beautiful poem that's famous in church history. It's called the Venita because it begins with the word come. Latin for come is venita. And in Psalm 95, it's the psalmist who writes, Venita exaltamus Domino. Come, let us exalt the Lord. But what I want us to understand this morning is that that's actually God's invitation to you and me. This is God calling out to you, come and meet with me. And his invitation is not behave, it's not perform, it's not earn, it is simply come. This is what Psalm 95 says. Come, let us sing for joy to the Lord. Let us shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before him with thanksgiving and extol him with music and song. For the Lord is the great God, the great King above all gods. In his hand are the depths of the earth, and the mountain peaks belong to him. The sea is his, for he made it, and his hands formed the dry land. Come, let us bow down and worship. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker, for he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture, the flock under his care. I think there's a lot we can learn from these verses about what worship and connection with the heart of God is actually all about. The Venita historically has been one of the passages that most deeply shaped the church's understanding of worship. But first things first, what is worship? Like if that word means more than coming and singing on a Sunday, what does it mean? Well, the Hebrew word that's used in Psalm 95 is shakah, which I'll be honest with you, sound like a ninja word to me. Like shakah, shakah, shakah. So I got a little carried away. It's fun to say, all right? But it does not mean to karate chop your neighbor. Do not do that. Don't karate chop your neighbor. It's in the Bible not to do that. But shakah means bow down. And in the context of Psalm 95, it talks about giving like the ultimate spot in your heart the throne of your life, the center of your universe, to something that you think is the most valuable thing. It's about giving your entire life, your thoughts, your ambitions, your dreams, your hopes, your intellect, your emotions, to one thing. And so put simply, worship is giving our whole lives to someone or something we have decided is the most valuable one or thing. And that's a lot bigger and a lot more than we've reduced the word worship to in the 21st century Western church. Because God actually wants all of who you are. I love the Venita because verse 1 talks about singing, which engages our hearts and our emotions. Then verse 6, it talks about bowing, which engages our will. And then verse 8, it talks about remembering who God is and who God has been, which engages our intellect. And so as the psalmist invites us into worship, he doesn't do it with an instruction manual. The Venita is not a list of ways in which we're supposed to connect to God. It's this poem that paints a beautiful vision. It says, sing and shout and bow and think and notice and see and acknowledge. And there's movement in there that reminds us what God is actually after. Your heart and your mind and your soul and your actions and your affections. Like God wants all of it. And inasmuch as that's the case, worship then isn't an activity, it's an alignment. It's not so much something we go to or something that we do. It's a divine connection where our souls are lined up with and bent toward the one we've decided is worthy. Like that's what worship is all about, and you can't really compartmentalize that. You can't give part of yourself to it, but not some other part of yourself. Even on a Sunday morning, like there are some of us who show up here, we love singing the songs. Others of us mumble through the songs and hope we get to sit down really soon. Some of us love studying the Bible and listening to messages. Others of us love sleeping through messages. I see you. These lights are only semi-blinding. I noticed the nappers. Matter of fact, I made a list of people that I want to read off. My kids just panicked. I guarantee you that. Just saying, but no, here's my point. And it's not that you should always have to stay awake and listen to me. I got to live with me 24/7, 365. I don't blame anybody ever on a Sunday who's like, this guy's a lot. Just like, it's fine. Here's my point. If you love belting it out on a Sunday morning, but singing those songs doesn't change the way you live when you walk out those doors, you are missing the point. If you love studying the Bible or hearing people talk about the Bible, but that doesn't do something in your heart that transforms the way you treat the people around you, then you are missing the point, because you will always be most fully alive when you are most fully engaged with the God of the universe. It's true. We're meant to holistically connect with the one who made us for himself.